Welcome to This Explainer. Right now, a lot of folks think they're absolute AI wizards just because they can coax a decent, coherent answer out of a large language model. And hey, to be fair, that was totally enough about 6 months ago. But it just isn't enough anymore. We are right in the middle of a massive transition from basic chatbots to full-blown AI agents. And the gap between those who get this shift and those who don't, it's about to get very, very expensive. Today we're going to look at why simply getting a good answer isn't the finish line, and why understanding agents is absolutely the next frontier you have to cross. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to hit the AI paradigm shift, peek inside an AI agent, see exactly how they adapt, figure out how to avoid the so-called agent trap, and wrap up with the future of human value. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. The AI paradigm shift. We've got to start by shattering a really persistent illusion. We have to stop thinking of AI agents as just glorified search engines or slightly more capable chatbots. The reality is, history is repeating itself and we're totally stuck in our old habits. Think about it. When the internet gave us search, we learned to Google. When AI gave us language models, we just treated them like superpowered search bars. Now agents are here, and we're making that exact same mistake all over again. A chatbot waits for your next prompt, but an agent figures out its next move. Prompting a chatbot is literally like sitting in the passenger seat next to a student driver. You have to guide them, correct them, hold your breath, and stay incredibly alert the entire time. Using an AI agent, though, that's like handing the keys to a hired driver. You set the destination, you sit in the back seat, and it handles the traffic, the route, and all the step-by-step decisions to get you there.
So how do you actually know when to use an agent instead of just typing out a standard prompt? Well, you can apply this AAR framework. It's incredibly simple but highly effective. Look at the task in front of you. Is it autonomous, recurring, and reviewable? If it hits those 3 marks, like, say, generating a weekly analytics report, bam, it's a fantastic candidate for an AI agent. But if the task requires live human judgment in the moment, if it only happens once, or if you can't clearly review it for accuracy, keep it as a prompt. Honestly, that one single distinction is going to put you miles ahead of how most people are using AI right now.
Moving right along to Part 2, Inside an AI Agent.
Everybody is talking about AI agents, but very few people actually know what's happening under the hood. We need to look at how an agent moves from just predicting the next word, like a chatbot does, to actually deciding on the next action. The architecture fundamentally changes here. An agent still has that large language model right in the center, sure, but it surrounds it with a team of 4 distinct automated workers. You've got the analyst, who spots the patterns in the data, the planner, who maps out the strategy, the operator, who actually grinds out the work, and the auditor, who double-checks the results. It's essentially a self-contained digital team.
To see how this plays out in the real world, imagine you assign a multi-step task like this. Every Monday at 7 a.m., review the past week's customer support tickets, summarize the biggest recurring issues, and email a one-page brief to the leadership team. If you set this up in agent mode, you're going to see those 4 workers show up in real time. The analyst reads the feedback. The planner figures out what belongs in the brief. The operator writes and sends it, and the auditor checks for weak logic or sloppy conclusions. By Monday morning, the brief is sitting in your inbox, and you didn't lift a single finger. You essentially just assign the job of 4 people to 1 agent.
All right, Part 3. How AI agents adapt.
The defining characteristic of a true agent isn't just following a complex set of instructions. It's really about adaptability. What happens when the obvious path completely fails? To get this, we can look at a concept from Air Force Colonel John Boyd's analysis of the Korean War. He studied why American pilots were beating technically superior Soviet MiGs. The answer? American pilots could see more from their cockpits, which let them adapt faster. They got inside the enemy's decision cycle using what Boyd called the OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, act. An AI agent succeeds for the exact same reason. It runs its own rapid OODA loop. When a path fails, it observes the roadblock, orients to the new context, decides on a better path, and acts on it in real time.
Let's say you have an automated workflow to order your groceries every single Friday. If your usual brand of coffee is out of stock, that obedient little workflow completely panics and breaks because it just isn't designed to think. But an adaptable AI agent? It notices the coffee is out of stock, checks your calendar, sees you have 6 dinner guests coming over on Saturday, finds an appropriate substitute, adjusts the quantities for 6 people, and completely rebuilds the order. A workflow just follows the tracks. An agent actually steers the car.
Now, all this incredible adaptability naturally leads us to a pretty crucial reality check. If agents have this level of true autonomy, why do they still fail so frequently when we try to use them in our day-to-day work?
Which brings us to part 4, avoiding the agent trap. Here is the absolute most dangerous thing you need to understand about AI agents. They are not magic. They are multipliers, which means they will do the wrong things faster and with way more confidence than you ever could on your own. Think about a recent case study with the CMO of a massive, well-run consumer brand. When someone asked what was stopping them from using AI for customer acquisition, she didn't blame the tech. She said they first needed a clean process and the right people in the seats. Most AI problems are actually just human problems in disguise. An agent is just a mirror. It reflects the quality of your own thinking right back at you. It doesn't fix bad thinking, it just formalizes it. If you give an agent vague goals and sloppy directions, it's going to confidently drive the car straight into a tree. So, before you attempt to automate anything, you have to protect yourself by running a GPS check: goal, proof, and steps. First, the goal. Can you define the goal clearly in one single sentence? Second, the proof. Can you identify exactly what good looks like and how you'll know if the agent actually got it right? And third, the steps. Can you describe every single step clearly with absolutely zero hand-waving? If you can't satisfy this GPS check, your agent is going to fail. And honestly, it will be because the human instructions were vague, not because the model was bad. This is exactly why the real winners in the AI agent space are obsessively narrow in their focus. They aren't trying to build broad, sci-fi generalized intelligence. Take a construction software company that recently showcased a new agent. It was built for one highly specific task: collecting field data for specific customers in specific situations. It solved a very real, decades-old pain point that those workers absolutely hated doing. When they demoed it, literally every hand in the room went up to take a picture of the QR code. That is the blueprint for success right there. Find a specific task people hate and master that one narrow workflow deeply.
And finally, part 5, the future of human value.
So, if AI agents are poised to gobble up all these recurring, specific, data-heavy tasks, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. Where does that leave us? How does our value fundamentally change in this new paradigm? Let's look at the big historical shift here. For most of modern history, basically since the industrial era, your income was tightly linked to the hours you worked. Time and speed were the ultimate bottlenecks. But AI agents act as a giant decoupling machine. They break that historic link. The agents do the grinding work, which allows you to finally scale your judgment instead of your time. And that brings us to a wildly fascinating economic reality. We are entering an era where output, whether that's content, code, or data analysis, is becoming incredibly cheap. It's almost infinite. But here's the catch. When intelligence and output become that cheap, human judgment becomes exponentially more expensive. When output becomes infinite, taste becomes scarce. Your personal value is no longer tied to being the person who can type the fastest or produce the most volume. Every single time you define a task clearly enough for an agent to run it, you are clarifying your own standards. Your value fundamentally shifts to defining what exceptional work actually is, instantly spotting the garbage, and having the wisdom to know when to trust an agent and when to rely on a human.
Roles are absolutely going to be reshaped by this. Just like the internet created jobs no one could have even imagined beforehand. But as agents ironically step in to make human life way less robotic, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to take away from our explainer today. This shift to AI agents is already happening. The only question left is, are you going to shape it, or are you going to get shaped by it? How will you choose to scale your unique judgment in an increasingly automated world? Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. Now go run a GPS check on an agent yourself.